Columbia Global Centers Nairobi welcomes you to our webinar this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. A few things to note for housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and will be posted on our YouTube page. Our handle is CGC Nairobi. To ensure safety for our audience, some features such as audio and video sharing and screen share have been disabled. Please type your questions in the Q&A section. The feature is at the bottom of your screen. Our colleague, Lena Mora, will moderate and guide the panel to answer your questions at the end of our session today. I will be posting Lena's bio on the chat for your reference shortly. We credit Professor Samantha Winter for putting together this incredible forum, as well as Kiana Stamps, a student at Columbia School of Social Work, for her dedication and support through this process. I would now like to welcome the Director of CGC Nairobi, Dr. Murugi Dirango, to open the session and then hand over to Lena. Welcome, Murugi.
Thank you very much, Pauline. I hope you can all hear me clearly. Greetings to our distinguished guests. Welcome to our webinar today on resilience in the face of upheaval. Mathare's women speaking out on government demolitions. As Pauline has said, my name is Murugi Dirango, and I serve as the Director of Columbia Global Center here in Nairobi. CGC Nairobi, as it is popularly known, is part of Columbia Global, a global initiative that was established by Columbia University in New York to nurture positive change in our hyperconnected and dynamic 21st century world. Columbia Global leverages the remarkable scholarship, expertise, and resources of Columbia University to address the world's most complex challenges. The Nairobi Center, in particular, facilitates collaboration between Columbia University and diverse stakeholders in Eastern and Southern Africa. By forming strategic partnerships, we connect academic institutions, government bodies, NGOs, multinationals, and other entities with Columbia's faculty, students, and alums to address regional challenges and foster meaningful dialogue and change, just like what we are going to do today. We ensure our partners align with regional interests, working across our range of themes, including climate, health, education, refugee and migration, and business. Throughout April and May of this year, the Nairobi city experienced extreme rainfall and flash flooding, resulting in tragic deaths of over 200 people. To prevent future flood-related fatalities among residents living along the riversides, the Kenyan government demolished homes in informal settlements. Notices of the planned demolitions were as short as 2 hours, leading to many residents returning to find their homes and possessions reduced to rubble. Many residents were left homeless, without livelihoods, while still mourning the loss of loved ones due to the floods. To illuminate this issue and to amplify the voices of those affected, we are hosting a panel discussion today featuring community leaders from Mathare, one of the settlements most severely impacted by the floods and demolitions. These community leaders will share their experiences, discuss the immense challenges of floods and subsequent demolitions, and highlight the community's reaction and resilience strategies. Please join us in learning about crisis response and collective action from grassroots community champions in informal settlements. Thank you. Let me now invite our moderator, Lena, to introduce the next section. Welcome, Lena.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from wherever you're joining us today. Welcome to today's webinar. It's titled Resilience in the Face of Upheaval. Mathare's Women Speak Out on Government Demolitions. My name is Murao Bara. I also go by Lena, and I'm honored to be the facilitator for this crucial discussion. So this webinar will focus on Mathare community members' experiences with and responses to heavy flooding and subsequent demolitions. Mathare Valley is an informal settlement located in the eastlands of Nairobi, Kenya, and is positioned between two rivers. It's the oldest and second largest informal settlement in Kenya after Kibera. And it has a population of approximately 500,000 people and has a residential density of 70,000 residents per square mile, most of whom are living in single-story structures. In recent months, Nairobi has faced unprecedented challenges due to extreme rainfall and devastating floods, claiming the lives of approximately 228 individuals and displacing countless others. Mathare has been especially impacted by the floods and loss of life, as you can see there. In the next slide, we are going to see a short video that we recorded this past Friday of heavy rainfall in one of the areas in Mathare that was affected by the demolition. We'll take a short while and look at this. As you saw, these extreme weather events are still ongoing and these effects are still on. So in response to these tragedies, the Kenyan government initiated a demolition of homes in Mathare along riversides to prevent future flood-related fatalities. And in some areas, notices of planned demolitions were as short as 2 hours, leading to many residents returning to find their homes and possessions reduced to rubble. Many residents were left homeless, without livelihoods, while still mourning the loss of their loved ones due to these floods. So today we gather here not only to shed light on these critical issues, but also to amplify the voices of those affected in Mathare. Our panelists, as you'll be hearing from them, are community health promoters and champions of climate justice, health equity, and community well-being who live in and serve the communities in Mathare. And they show up for their fellow community members in any way that they can. They listen to their stories, celebrate their joy, and often use their own resources to support them. Additionally, they also try to find solutions for different challenges that their fellow community members face, and therefore become a great source of support if a solution cannot be found. They've been particularly critical in the response to the floods and demolitions that just happened in Mathare. I will be introducing our panelists, and we will request them to wave as I call out their names. So to begin, we will have Anne Mweni. Mweni, thank you. And then we have Anne Lillian. Anne Lillian, are you in? Thank you. We have Kristen. Kristen, thank you, Kristen. We have Evelyn next. Thank you. And then we will have Julia. Thank you, Julia. We'll have Milka. Thank you, Milka. There's Manaisha. Thank you, Manaisha. And last but not least, we have Nancy. Thank you so much for coming. They have graciously dedicated their time to join us today to share their personal experiences with us and illuminate the ways in which their community has responded with strength and resilience. We invite each of you to listen, engage, and learn from the insights and experiences of our community leaders here today. The question and answer function will be available, as you were told earlier on, for the duration of the webinar. And we will answer these questions at the end. Please pose them throughout as they come. So to begin in this next section, I am going to invite a few of them to share their personal experience and on how the floods and the demolitions impacted them, their families, and their businesses. To begin, we are going to ask Nancy a question and she'll respond. So Nancy, how have the floods and demolitions impacted you and your family?
Okay, I have known that place as my home from when I was born. So it has affected us so much because it was my home, and also it was also a business to my family. So when they demolished our houses, they affected our business. That is, the rentals were the ones that were bringing money to my mom and our family as well, as a whole. And it was also the place that we were living. So it's affected us so much because El Nino came some years back, but it did not affect us. So we think the government was not fair demolishing our houses within a short notice, and we did not have a place to call home. And my mom lives with disability. She had her leg amputated some years back because of an accident, and that's the only place that she was getting money from to feed her family and other people. So it's affected us so much because for now we have to dig deep to help her, and for sure she was the one who was at least helping us when we were in need. So we have been affected so much, and we think it's not fair for the government to do so within a small period of time, and they did not give us a place to call home. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing your experience with us. We know that pained you a lot and you went through a lot. But we appreciate that you've shared that with us. Next, I will invite Anne Lillian to also share her personal experience.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me share my personal experience. So what I can say, I have lived in that area since that time I came from rural home. This is my 20th year to be in that place. I've known it to be my home, but when floods came, I can't forget that fateful night of April 25th. The night was full of casualties, cries all over, noise, confusion, and crime. The situation was very horrible. I haven't experienced that thing in my life. Now, being the fact that Mathare was my home, I had invested in that place. I had built some structures where I was getting some few amount of money to better my life. It was swept away by the floods. and demolition. Secondly, I was also doing some farming where I was rearing chicken. And I decided this year that I was to upgrade from the lower levels that I was operating under. So I decided to improve my farm, whereby I introduced now both indigenous breeds and the improved breeds. All was swept away. It was around 120 chicken, uncountable eggs. And I had also bought a hatchery where I was hatching chicks, and I was also providing the services to my community. Through that, I was getting some little amount of money to buy the vaccines for my chicks and also the animal feeds. Everything went. And up to now, I am still struggling to come to my mind, to come into the reality of what happened. Truly, both floods and demolition impacted my life badly. I'm still struggling to come into terms of what happened. And now, to put the salt in the wound, it was now demolition. A notice of 2 hours was supposed to carry everything. And as I told you earlier, the scenes were full of crimes. The iron sheet that I collected and placed somewhere, the groups of goons who are taking advantage of the situation that was happening also came and took it there. So I'm still struggling to come into terms of what happened. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne Lillian, for sharing your experience as well. These are still difficult times. We know that you're all still struggling to recover from this, but we appreciate you taking the time to come out here and talk with us. And then invite Julia to please share her personal experience.
Okay, thank you, Mura. Okay, my experience of demolition, which affect me and my family, because I have invested in that area a lot. So what I was affected psychologically and emotionally, because I'm a single mom, a mother of 5. So these children looking upon me, while I was getting something, I was given 2 hours to take that structure out. I didn't manage, but I managed to take some small iron sheet, and then after there, nothing. Now I'm getting, because those 4 rooms, I was earning 8,000. Now nothing comes to my pocket. I'm like that. I was not compensated. Nothing goes on. Even government after doing that, not any psychosocial support, not only financially, psychosocial support, those people go through that demolition. We are suffering inside silence, because some people got loans, like I go to SACCO, I took loan, I built that house. Even I did not finish to pay the loan, the government came and demolished it. So we are going a lot, and only God knows what we are going through. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you all for sharing these heavy and personal stories with us. We appreciate that a lot. And in the next section, We will invite some of our panelists to talk about the challenges, in addition to what we've had, a negative impact of the floods and demolitions. I will be beginning with Mwanaisha. Mwanaisha, can you please describe the area surrounding the riparian lands, and what are people's lives like, and how long have families lived near the river?
Thank you, Lena. To our guests, mentors, facilitators, and also my colleagues from Mathare, good evening, good morning from where you are. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to represent my community. Also, you can know the challenges that people of Mathare are going through. According to my questionnaire, based on the terrain of the land or based on the surrounding of the riparian, it is along the riverbank, steep downstream as a sewer line, iron sheet structures, houses made of mud, accessibility of business premises, water point, and churches built along the riverbank that are not suitable and comforting to a human head. It has a negative impact to the people who are living there. One, I would say overcrowding, risk of flooding, unsafe water for drinking, waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid, and also extreme cold weather for children that they can get sick from pneumonia, and also fire for the congestion. Despite the negative impact, people were comfortably living around the river, along the river, due to financial difficulties, lack of affordable houses in slums in order to sustain their families. Most of the families lived for more than 25 years, whereas some inherited the land, while others bought the land. And that made easier for them to rent the houses in order to maintain their daily lives. In order to maintain their daily lives, since they had no any other social support. Thank you, Lena.
Thank you so much, Mwanaisha. Might you know how long the families have lived? Many families have lived there. When did people start living there?
Most of them lived over more than 25 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that, Mwanaisha, and for educating us on the land that surrounds these rivers. Next, I will be inviting our panelist, Christine. And so Christine, this question is for you. Were the residents given sufficient notice to evacuate and remove their belongings before their homes or business was demolished?
Nilisema nitaongea na Kiswahili. Nilisema nitaongea na Kiswahili. Kwa hakika wakati demolition ilikuwa inaendelea, watu hawakupewa notice. Tingatinga ilikuwa inakuja. Baada ya masaa mawili tingatinga imekuja imesimama. Baada ya masaa mawili unapata kwamba tingatinga inaanza kubomoa. Wakati tingatinga inaanza ubomoaji, inakuta ya kwamba watu wengine wameenda kazini. Ambapo saa ile mtu anaenda kazini, anaenda akijua ya kwamba amefunga mlango yake, atarudi kupata vitu zake zikiwa sawa. Hapo ndio unakuta ya kwamba mtoto aliamka vizuri akienda shule, akirudi anakuta ya kwamba nyumba yao imebomolewa. Huyu mtoto hajui aanzie wapi. Tuseme ya kwamba mama ameenda kazi, ama mtu yote ambaye nyumba yake ilikuwa imebomolewa ameenda kazi, anapopigiwa simu tingatinga imesimama inafanya ubomoaji, kitambo huyo mtu atoke kazini afike, anakuta ya kwamba nyumba imebomolewa, vitu zake zote zimeibiwa, hakuna kitu yoyote yenye anaweza okoa. Kwa sababu wakati ubomoaji inaendelea, hapo ndio waizi pia wanachukua nafasi ya kuchukua vitu za watu. So kwa hakika government ilituonyesha ya kwamba government hawatupendi watu ambayo wanaishi Mathare, lingana na vile nyumba zilibomolewa. To make the matter worse, maji ilikuja kwanza ikaribu kila kitu, alafu baadaye unabomolewa, juu hata uende wapi na uanzie wapi. Ni hayo tu maneno yenyewe.
Asante sana Christine kwa kuchangia. I will translate what Christine shared with us. So she says that people were not given enough notice when the demolitions began. So some of the people had gone to work and children had gone to school, and a 2-hour notice is not enough for you to come back from wherever you are. Perhaps there's even nobody to call you, contact you to come back home. And then you come back home, your home has been demolished, the children come back, they have no place to go to. And there are definitely people who take advantage of these situations. So there were thieves in that case, and people would wait as they're demolishing, they're stealing things. There were massive losses. What it made them feel is that the government that's supposed to be protecting them does not care for them, because the notices were not sufficient enough for them. They were not given enough time to prepare for that. Thank you so much, Christy. Next, the next question will be going to Nancy. So Nancy, were the residents compensated by the government for damages and losses after the floods and the demolitions?
Okay, thank you, Lena. Only flood victims were compensated. 10K only per person. But to be honest, most of them did not benefit from the money because there was so much corruption. People are writing their families. There are people who are not affected that were being wrote. So many victims did not get the money. And about the demolitions, there is no any penny that was given to the victims. And the names were being written at the chief's office, but like to our tenants told us that the names were written, but they did not get the compensation because people are bribing the ones who are writing. You are giving out 500 shillings so that your name should be written and get the 10K shillings. So the people who were affected, most of them did not get the money. Being one of them, I did not get anything, any compensation from the demolition or from the floods. Yeah, so the government did not have the right channels, to compensate the people who were demolished. That's why there was so much corruption in the process. Yeah, thank you, Lena.
Thank you. Just to put a little context to what Nancy said, chiefs are local administration, there's a hierarchy, and they're the ones that the community can reach first. And 10,000 converted, that's about $80 for each household, I think. Yeah. And next, the next question will be going out to Anne Mweni. Mweni, how do you feel the government made decisions about targeting homes and businesses for demolitions? Do you see a difference between how structures were demolished in Mathare as opposed to other areas along the two rivers that run through Mathare?
Okay, thank you, Lena. I will use Swahili language. Pangu na feel government haikufanya poa kulingana na vile ilianzisha demolition. Tena na feel ni kama ilianzisha demolition kwa sababu ya floods ile ilikuja ikaleta madhara pale Mathare. So naweza feel hiyo floods ndio ilifanya wakaona waanze ubomoaji. But vile walianza ubomoaji walisababisha shida kwa watu wengi wenye walikuwa wameweka biashara pale. Kama kuna wale walikuwa na maduka, saa zile imekuja mara imepima 30 meters, wengine wanaenda kando. Sasa kama ni duka yako ulikuwa umeweka pale na wewe ulikuwa unaona utafikiwa, hauta manage kutoa zile vitu zako, nyingi zilikuwa zinaibiwa. Then kuna wale walikuwa hizo ndio nyumba zao zenye walikuwa wanapata mapato hapo, wakikombolesha nyumba wanapata pesa ya matumizi ya familia yao. So hao landlords wote biashara yao iliisha, wengine wakaona hawawezi manage hata Nairobi, wengine wakangojeka, wengine wakaenda ushago, wengine sasa wakaanza waanze kutafuta maisha ya kulipa nyumba. Ile ni ngumu kwao juu hawakuwa wamezoea. Tena upande wa ubomoaji, mimi naweza sema ni kama kulikuwa na kipendeleo kwa sababu vile walianza, ukiangalia kutoka baba ndogo walikuja vizuri, tukidhani wataenda kwa nyumba zote zenye ziko karibu na river. But kufikia mlango kubwa ward hawakuweza kumanage kupunguza hizo nyumba za pangani ambazo zimejengwa kwa river kabisa. Walinyamazia hapo, so watu wakakuwa confused na wakanyamaza. Hakuna mtu kufikia hapo anajua serikali ni nini imepanga. Ile ingine kulikuwa na ile biashara ya wale watu kupika jamaa. Imekuwa ngumu kwao kwa sababu hawawezi pika ile mchana walikuwa wanapika. So saa hizi wanaamka usiku saa 9, saa zile askari hawako, ndio wakaweza kumanage kupika ile jamaa. Asubuhi ikifika wasipatwe pale kwa sababu watashikwa. Thank you, Lena.
Asante sana Mweni. I'll just summarize what Mweni has told us. She began by saying that she feels like the government was not fair in the demolitions because the homes were already there before the floods. So the demolitions happened after the floods and they feel targeted, and they were demolishing structures that were within 30 minutes closer to the water. So that was the measure that they were using. And a lot of people lost businesses, as we've had earlier. She's added on to that. People had shops there, people had rental properties there, and they lost that and they were not compensated. And then she said that some people were forced to move out of the settlement altogether and relocate back to the countryside to live there. And they also feel like the government favored certain areas because there are homes that were still spared, that were closer to the river, while others were demolished. So thank you, Mweni, for that. To finish in this part of challenges, I'll invite Julia to answer the next question. So Julia, how has infrastructure, public utilities, and other public resources, such as water supply, toilets, and schools, been affected by the flooding and demolitions? Julia.
Thank you, Vienna. I will speak on infrastructure. Those are schools, toilets, roads, and water supplies. So when I speak about school, there is this, we call it private schools, were demolished. So up to now, there is some children who were not attending schools. And even this demolition affect even government schools. There is young boys who are going around when demolition was going on, taking iron sheet, we call it scrap metals. They go and sell, they get money. Up to date, they have not gone back to school. So we have school dropout children because they are homeless. So there is no one they can call home. So they're looking, why am I going to school? What I'm going to do? Because they don't have uniforms, they don't have books, they don't have shoes. So those children were not attending to schools. Right now, Nairobi is raining. Now I'm talking about water supplies. Some pipes which were connecting water to those houses were damaged. So this water is being contaminated. So people are drinking contaminated water. Toilets were demolished. So people are going, start now using like toilets, open areas. People are going to help themselves there. And then we are waiting for a lot of diseases which will come out because we don't have enough toilets, we don't have clean water. We are living like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. We know that these things have long-term effects. We've either seen them or we've read about them. And this is disease in most cases, a loss of lives, which is really hard. But even in the face of challenges, there's the element of resilience and community response. So in this final section, we'll have some of our panelists tell us a little bit about this. So I will be starting with Evelyn. So Evelyn, in what ways have community members supported each other and shared essential resources for the basic needs following the floods and demolitions?
Thank you, Maura, for this opportunity. I would like to say that we as the people of Mathare, once we experienced the flood, let me start with the floods. During the flood season, we as the community, first of all, we identified the people who were affected. After identifying them, we took them to places where they could get shelter with their properties, which were luckily not damaged by flood or heavy rainfall. We took them to churches, schools, where the churches and the schools opened for us the doors to help them with the shelter. After that, we also managed to hire for the tents for the people who were demolished because they had nowhere to go to. Their houses were being demolished. We hired tents for them. We as the community, we contributed small money, we contributed money so that we can hire the tents so that their properties could be safe in those tents. Another thing, we worked tirelessly. We also became our brothers' keepers by hosting them, the people who are affected by floods. We hosted them, we gave them food, the clothes, you know, so we even became their comforters. We comforted them with those things. We also helped them, the people who are affected with floods. Everything went with you. Everything was in mud, their clothes, the things that were luckily not affected by the flood, the heavy rainfall, the mud, you know. We helped them by washing them, cleaning them, doing the cleaning for their properties, which were luckily safe. Another thing, we as the community, we also contributed money so that the people who are demolished, we could cook for them, the women, the children, plus their husbands, at least they could get something to eat while they are still waiting for the government to come in. So that is what I can say, the support that we gave them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful contributions and the things that you continue to do in your communities. The next question is going out to Anne Lillian. Anne Lillian, as a community champion, can you tell us a bit more about your personal contributions and the actions you've taken to support members of your community in the aftermath of the floods and demolitions?
Okay, thank you once again, Maura. As a community champion, I'll start by talking about what I did during the floods. As I said earlier, that there was a fateful night. The mother of all floods happened. During that night, I did what we call safeguarding and protection of the children. These children were running at night, helter-skelter, helplessly, crying because they were looking for their mothers whom they could not find that night. So me, together with other community leaders, some of them are here, we collected these children, took these children to the safer places. I also went as far as seeking help from the neighbors who were not affected to offer these children a place where they could sleep that night because it was raining and the night was very cold. Still on safeguarding, we also, or me together with other community members, we also protected those people living with disability, the group of vulnerable people like the pregnant women, the sick people who are living under the valley, carrying them that night to at least a higher place where we could save their life and they could be comfortable that night. Came the following morning, I tried to reunite these children with their families. I also offered a shoulder for my community members to lean on. Even if I was also affected dearly, I had to wear thick skin to stand with my community because these women were crying. Some people had lost their certificates, their valuables. People were crying. We offered the shoulder for them to lean on. I also went as far as mobilizing the little resources from the community. We talked to the business community in the village, those who sell vegetable. We were begging, can you please help us with one cabbage? People were bringing in tomatoes. Other people were bringing in flour. People were bringing even the matchstick, small pinches of salt. I think I contributed towards that together with my fellow community members. And during the demolition also, we also did the same. We erected a tent because the administration had banned the camps for those people who were evacuated from the riparian lands. Me, together with my fellow women, like Mwanaisha here, we begged the administration to give us a place so that we could cook for these vulnerable families, because we had people who were living with chronic illness. They could not take their drugs without food. So we did that. I think that one was also part of my contribution. Thank you so much. My time is out.
Thank you. Thank you for that sharing and that great work, and Lillian and the rest of the women. So finally, we have Milka. Milka, this question is for you. Following these events, how have you collaborated with organizations and other community partners to ensure that members of your community receive the resources and support they need? Milka?
Thank you. I personally am a local leader and works closely with the organization surrounding, so was able to read them out only to see whether they have any support to support our people. Again, also I asked in individual support, and I thank God because I was lucky. I managed to reach Priscilla Waimani, whistle woman, who, the woman that whistles in TikTok. And she came and helped our people out, though it hasn't been easy because there was floods, and on top it became a demolished thing. It was hard because the number was large to help and to support, but as you can see, I'm shaking. It was a bad experience. It was a bad one, and I pray God not to even one day repeat itself, because it was a bad one. But I thank God how we live in Mathare. We are one family. So whenever we have such bad thing, such experience, we help each other. To me, I would say, still we are thinking of what to do, because there are those people who are out there, but we are bringing our minds together to see what to do. So still we are doing something only to see our people are helped out, and also we leaders to get at least somewhere to go and do the debrief, because actually it wasn't supposed to start here. It was supposed to have that that platform at least to do our debrief, because it was a bad experience. Thank you very much.
Such great resilience displayed here through your words. So thank you all so much for your meaningful contributions. I would now like to open up our webinar to maybe a question or two for our panelists. If there are any questions.
I see a question in the chat. I think this
yes,
may be the Nancy.
yes.
Based on her response. So, in your opinion, Nancy, what would have been a better channel for the government to distribute funds to the families affected by the floods and demolitions?
Okay.
If you can read that in Kiswahili.
What I can call a better channel, it will be at least go to the grassroots leaders and try to talk to them to know who are affected. Because the people who are doing it were not fair enough. Some were being bribed 500 to get your name wrote so that you can benefit from the 10K from the compensation of the floods. So I think the government did not use the right channel because some people even did not know if there were anything that was being compensated. So they were coming and write your name, then afterwards they were rubbing it and putting another name of the person who has bribed. So the best channel was using the grassroots leaders who knows who was affected. Yeah, that's what I think I have answered the question.
Thank you. I see another question here. So how do you balance your own well-being with your commitment to helping your community? Additionally, who supports the community leaders like you who are working tirelessly for their families and communities? Is there someone who would like to take that on? How do you balance your well-being and commitment to helping the community?
I think we work locally. You try a lot to help your people, but still you get yourself, you must put an effort at least to see your people are well and good to go. But if I can say in terms of our health, the condition becomes. Oh, thank you, Lillian. Kindly help. I don't know. That's the question.
To add on that question, in the community, we are sisters keepers and brothers keepers. First of all, we put God first to give us strength. And we take our time to the community and also to our families. Because remember, Lena, if you turn your back to your family, even if you are helping the community, you should start with yours first. Yeah.
Thank you. One. Yes.
Wait, there are two more people who want to share.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
Working tirelessly, I can say that during that flood season, episode, as we say that we work tirelessly, we as the community, we could also engage them to the local organization within Mathare, so that we linked them with those organizations, and the organization could chip in, providing or contributing foodstuffs and non-foodstuffs for the affected people. They were being given like mattress, the blankets, the foods. So we could see that the affected people could get those things by linking them to those organizations like Red Cross, the World Vision, you see. So that's why we were working to see that they are safe. You see, the things that they lost, if those organizations could provide them, at least to comfort them, Yeah, that is what I can say.
Okay, what I can say about that, what I can say about that is that as CHB, we have I don't know what to call it. We have a code that we use that we say, do the doable. Don't load yourself so much. And the best thing that the floods and the demolitions came at the time that CGC had a program within Mathare. So we had the counselors that were counseling the women. So for myself, I used that chance and talked to the counselor when I was overwhelmed by what was going on on the ground and doing the doable. Yeah, I was not loading myself so much. I was using the other leads so that we could get the load off my shoulders sometimes, because we have other organizations that were helping people, and we also have the churches also that were coming through for the victims. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Did I miss someone? So I think, I don't know if there's time to take, we could do maybe one more question. You've talked a little bit of how the international community contributed through other international organizations that are in Kenya. Can you say anything additional to that on how the international community has been involved? Did you see any direct impact?
Yes, there was a great impact. Starting with other international communities that came for the rescue of our people. Some of these organizations have offered cash transfers for the community, and they have also offered the psychosocial support for the community. We also have other international organizations like Medicine Sans Frontiers, which has worked tirelessly 24/7, because this is the place where we were referring the casualties. And they have helped the community a lot. We also have international organizations. We have the World Vision, we have the UNICEF, which also did some cash transfer for our members of the community to go and resettle back. So they have also done a great impact to the lives of our people. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing and for answering that question. I think we have a little while to answer this. I see 2 questions here before we invite Dr. Winter to conclude. So another question is, what do you think should be done to prevent future flood disasters?
Okay, what I think can be done is, whenever the landlords or people are buying lands, let it be known to them where the riparian lands are passing and where to build up to. That's the only thing that can help people. And also, when the government is giving out lands, or when people are being settled, let them be settled at the higher places where they cannot be affected by the floods again.
Also, to add on that, we should also, all the government and other agencies should also come in the community to start creating awareness and teaching people the effect of climate change. Because we've seen the bad effect of climate change, raining abnormally, because sometimes we've cut trees. We should also encourage our people to maintain the ecosystem, to maintain the rivers, to plant the trees, to respect the riparian lands. I think that one can be the best way so far the government can do, teaching people the importance of maintaining the ecosystem and the climate change. Thank you so much.
To add on that, and also to add on what Ann Lillian has said, and also to put land demarcation for people to know this is the boundary. That where we can reach here, we can't go far. Yeah.
Another thing to the community, we as the champions, we could also advise the people who are staying along the river, because I know that there are some areas which were not affected by demolition. Some people are still living along the river banks. They were not reached by this demolition. To teach them the strategies they can come up with whenever there is heavy rainfall, what can they do in order for them not to get affected by the floods or the heavy rainfalls, you know? By opening the drainage system, you see, we should teach them, they should be taught about those things. Opening drainage system, making the environment to be clean, you know, building this, we call them the sacks. We put stones into the sacks, yeah, those ones, so that whenever the rain comes heavy, it blocks the water from getting to their houses. So they should be offered they should be empowered with those strategies. They should have those strategies to help them prevent water or heavy rainfall from getting to their structures or their homes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Milka.
There's one more answer. And also something else, if something must be done, even our government to involve us, because it's like, to me, to my thinking, I saw it's as if they don't know whether we, in Mathare, there are people living there. Because those things, how things were done, it was done as if no people live there. It's high time now, government to engage us and involve us in anything that they want to do, or they just come and involve us. Thank you.
Pia naweza sema kama wanaanzisha kama hiyo ubomoaji, wabomoe once, kwa sababu kuna zile magorofa walikuwa wanamark, wananguza kidogo na wanaacha. Sasa vijana wanaenda kutoa zile chuma wakauze. Nyingi mpaka waleo zimesimama, nyingi zilikuwa zinaangukia vijana wanakufa. Na hakuna mtu alikuwa anauliza, watoto wa watu wamekufia hapo. Watu wanasema ni shida yao. Lakini serikali ingebomoa hizo gorofa kabisa ziishe, vijana hawangeenda kuchukua zile chuma.
I'll translate what Anne said. She's saying that the government marks buildings for demolition that are on areas where they're not supposed to be. But then in this case, in the settlements, they mark and then they don't demolish immediately, so they wait. But these buildings were weak. So some boys or people who went in there to try and take things to steal or sell, some died because the buildings collapsed as a result of the heavy rains and the flood. So probably the government can start, when it starts the work, then it finishes it.
Lena, can I add something?
Yes, please.
Okay, to me, I think government should come up with a permanent solution to avoid displacement of families, because the way we see, the experience that we see from Mathare was very horrible. Even some children are still nowhere to be found. Most of the family are still living in churches. So to me, I think if government come out with permanent solution to avoid displacement of people. Yeah.
I
Yes, please.
also want to add something on, though it is a past question, about the agencies that helped the community. I can also say that the Colombian Global Center has also played a very big role in this community, dealing with mental health issues. They are trying as much as possible to teach these community members how they can deal with stress. I think they came at the right time when these people needed them. Because the program started at the midst of demolition. It has helped a lot in promoting mental health awareness. I think thumbs up to the Colombia Global Center. We've done a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your contributions. Kiana, do you see any questions that I've missed?
No, I don't.
Yes, Mora, I see one from Susan.
Yes.
It says, so for the panelists, what else would you like to see the government do to work in partnership with the community and improve responses and follow up to extreme weather events? So what else would you like the government to do in partnership with the community to improve the responses after an extreme weather event? Are there preventative measures or improved policies that you believe can help?
Maybe, Mora, it would be helpful to summarize that question in Kiswahili so that they can answer in English and have a better understanding of the question.
Okay. So if I can break it down, so what else, first, what else would you like to see the government do in working in partnership with you? What else would you like to see the government do? I think Milka addressed part of that in a previous question. Anyone else who wants to contribute to that?
Let me try. I think the government, relying with the weather forecast people, they should know that they should alert the community that now it's going to, in this month, there will be a heavy rainfall, so that the people of Mathare and the people living near the riverbank should know that it's a month of heavy rainfall, so they should take precautions. So the government should align with the weather, because the weather, the meteorological department, and those people could alert the people of Mathare so that they become aware that this month, the month of September, there will be a heavy rainfall. So they should move out from the riverbanks, they should move out from there, near the river, the people staying there, so they know the precautions to take. Thank you.
To also add on what Evelyn have just said, the meteorological department have been doing that, but sometimes the information doesn't trickle to the village. We also want the meteorological department of Kenya to use the local leaders from the grassroots. We have many volunteers in the village who can also help to relay this information to our people. many people don't listen to news. Like, for example, in informal settlement, we don't have the power even to light. We use the small tin lamps. We don't have the power supply. Like in Mathare, I don't know how many years we have. Almost 4 years. We don't have that power. So these people cannot even listen to radios. These people cannot even watch news. So if this information can be trickled down from the Kenya Meteorological Department and other agencies and other group of well-wishers who wish good to the community, it can be so much helpful. Because the community is languishing because of lack of information. And also, let me just call it, how can I call it? I want to put it at least lighter. I don't want to use the term ignorance. It can come out. It doesn't come out well, but the Bible also says that my people are perishing because of ignorance. It is not that they wish to be like that. This information is not trickling down to these people. So the government plus the meteorological department, I think they can use people. We have volunteers there and other leaders. Or they can even share this information to the existing structures of administration. We have the DCC. From the DCC's office, the DC can also give the chiefs, then the chiefs to the village elders. It is not about going to the mass. It is very, very easy thing to do. Thank you.
Did we miss someone? Was there someone saying something from the group, the panelists?
Yes. Can I go on?
Go ahead.
Okay, in the
Yes,
riparian area, thank you. Thank you. In the riparian areas, they can mark. They put like blue, green, and red. When the water reaches the blue, you can see the water is coming up. When they reach the red, you see you are in danger, so you can evacuate. So putting these marks will help community to know the time of danger and the time of not in danger. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much. And then finally, on Susan's question had two parts. The last one is, mnafikiria kuna policies ama hatua ambazo zinaweza kuchukuliwa kukinga haya mambo hapa in future mbeleni? Yeah. Kuna sheria yenye mnajua inaweza kuwa iko lakini haitumiki ama ijakuwa ikitiliwa maanani, yenye wangeitilia hiyo maanani, haya mambo hayangefanyika hivi.
Yes, like living in riparian land, it's not healthy at all. But if our people was given a warning or was enlightened about living to those areas is dangerous, I don't think our people would have died the way they died. And I would like also to add something, because these things are hidden, like the number of people who died wasn't brought to people to know exactly the number of people who died, and up to now, there are things which are hidden, only not being projected here, people to know that the truth that is. So into it, I would like to say it's nice. Okay, like removing people up to riparian land was a good thing, but again, it must be a procedure to do those things. Otherwise, it wasn't healthy for our people mentally and being affected. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, and Lillian.
Okay. Thank you. I think the policies are there. It is even in the Constitution that people should not stay along the riverbank. 30 meters is a government land. But the problem is, even if you are in 30 meters, or let's say, if the government have allowed people to settle in the 30-meter area from any riparian land, the same government is issuing the allotment letters. And some even have the title deeds. So the policies are there, but implementation of the policy, the government has failed us on that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. The only thing that I can say is that the government to be strict, because sometimes they do say we are demolishing this place is a riparian land, but afterwards you find people rebuilding again, because other time you find them that there are some greedy leaders that we have. They get bribed and then they let you build the house there. So the government should be serious, not to let the houses to be rebuilt there again. That's the only thing that will help us.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We'll take the last comment from Joki, from Julia, then we'll conclude.
Like Kenya, we have good constitution, and then we have some structures from government. And when we are speaking about the riparian area, we have NEMA. Because NEMA is one who dealing with the environment. So when we're speaking about demolition, planting the trees, NEMA have those policies. So people, when they're building this house in the riparian area, there are some leaders who know, and even NEMA knows. They have been building in riparian area, but they didn't take any action. That is why the government comes with full force to tell this structure of government, now is the time to mark. So NEMA have a good structure, but they're doing nothing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your contributions. Finally, I would like to invite Dr. Samantha Winter to give the final remarks. Sam is the principal investigator of the Sauti Mashinani Research Lab at the Columbia School of Social Work, and she has worked with these community champions close to 2 years now. Sam, take it up.
Hi, everyone. I just want to thank everyone for such a fantastic panel. Thank you so much to our community team members who are absolutely the everyday heroes that inspire us. We're always in awe of what you do. Despite facing your own challenges, you are so resilient and you always sort of support your community in ways that is miraculous and underappreciated. So thank you so much, not only for what you said today, for your incredible suggestions, which we all need to take to heart and think about how to implement and support, but also just for the work that you do all of the time. Thank you also, Mara, for your fantastic moderation of this panel. Such a wonderful job. So inspiring to see you up here and asking these questions and supporting our team as well. And thank you to the Columbia Global Center, to Marugi and Sandra, and to Pauline for putting this all together and for supporting our work and supporting everything that we do in the community and letting us use their space. It's been a joy and a pleasure to work with you and to be part of this webinar and to see this be the first of many webinars. Hopefully all the attendees will join us for our next ones as we move forward and to continue to support our community team as we move through this work. Such an inspiring panel. Thank you so much, everyone who attended today.
Thank you, Sam.
It's like, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Well,